All right, speaking of insurance, we got the insurance crew in here and let us know what is going on. You know what's wild? Every time I talk to you guys, I'll be out in public and people are always like, hey, I got an insurance question.
Right.
I got an insurance question. And then I never remember it.
But we I remember the one from yesterday. It was the electric car thing. The no driver.
The driverless car.
Yeah.
And I was saying that they had to have created a special policy for that because the regular auto policy wouldn't work for that. So we don't have.
There's a driver exclusion on that policy.
Yeah.
Because there's no driver?
Yeah. It would be a driver inclusion policy.
Leave the comedy to us, man. You just said insurance.
No, it's funny.
I know. You're
Okay.
a funny boy over there.
No, today we were wanting to talk about wind and hail deductibles for homes and businesses. Most of the time, especially in our part of Texas, your policy, whether it's a commercial property or your personal business, your personal home or your business, it's going to have at least 2 deductibles. There's going to be a wind hail deductible and then what they call an all other peril like fire, theft, all those things deductible. And we are seeing the wind and hail deductibles going up and up because it's not if we're going to have a hail storm, it's just wind.
Right.
And so the insurance companies are just saying this is it, we will only do, and they usually put a percentage, and it's a percentage of the value of the building. So you'll see a 2% deductible or 3% deductible, and those are high, but that's what your deductible is going to be for wind and hail.
Well, I've seen as high as 4 and 5.
Yeah.
And especially on commercial policies, and what the insurance company will do, they'll say, hey, for just the hail and wind damage, because we know that's going to happen, we need to save the money, so we're going to increase the deductibles by allowing us to decrease your premiums. So it saves you a little bit, but it also helps them out. Well, the problem is if you have, let's say, $1 million property and you get a 5% deductible, that's a $50,000 deductible that you're going to have to pay out. Most people can't afford that. So a way to mitigate this is something called a deductible buyback. And so what you do is it's like another insurance policy. You buy it and it will pay up to like 90% of a deductible, depending on what type of perils that you have chosen. So if you just want something for catastrophic, like, okay, if a tornado hits, hailstorm hits, destroys the outside of my building, and that $50,000 deductible is unattainable, you can pay, let's say, $1,000 a year in premium to have $40,000 of that paid off up front. Now that doesn't include all your perils, but the ones that are specifically on the policy.
So, for example, we have a client that owns a building, 2 or 3 buildings in another town. They're downtown, and they've been hit before by wind and hail, but they've got a 4% wind and hail deductible, and that's just all their insurance company was willing to do. They're like, we're not doing any less than that. So they bought a separate policy from a different carrier that makes their deductible really 2%. So. Just to kind of repeat what Brad said, it's just a way if you can't stomach the thought of that you're going to have to shell out this deductible or you wouldn't be able to, then deductible buyback is something that you can look at. Now, best case scenario is that you have that deductible, maybe you set it aside, and then it's still your money, and if you don't need it, but just kind of depends on the situation.
Right.
So.
I got a question.
Okay.
Let's say you have a building. I'm just like for Cub Scouts. It's a what is that? A CO?
Like a nonprofit?
Yeah. What's it called?
501(c)(3).
Yeah, that's it. Thank you. I knew it.
Yeah.
Is there like a discount for buildings like that are nonprofit, or is it just the same as a normal?
There are specialized companies out there that deal with nonprofits because they have their own issues.
Yeah.
And it's not a discount.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a coverage issue that you have to worry about.
Right.
Okay.
Well, and you see on those, of course, you have the property that we were talking about, but then you usually have a board of directors, and so you have to have directors and officers and professional and that kind of thing. So we do insure some nonprofits, and we, in connection with the insurance carriers, do everything we can to keep the cost down.
Right.
We actually, a lot of times, we have even volunteered for the nonprofits that we insure. But
I've run a lot of presents.
For
That's awesome.
Yeah, But,
I was
but,
just curious about that.
yeah, but the fact that it's a nonprofit is not gonna make it cheaper.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
Yeah,
I really
no,
didn't.
no, it's a
In
good
fact,
question.
build extra coverages, extra policies.
Yeah. Yeah.
I saw a deal the other day, and I kind of know what the answer is, but maybe you need to talk to people about it, like talking about wind and hail and things like this. There was a lady I saw a video of sitting at a stop sign, and a windstorm came through, and a tree that was beside where she stopped at fell over and crushed her car.
Oh, goodness.
I know your car will take care of that, but is there any kind of special thing because of like a storm or something like that?
No, you're gonna, on an auto policy, you're gonna have for the to insure any damage to the vehicle, you're gonna have collision, and then it's either called other than collision or comprehensive, but it's just gonna, you don't see the multiple deductibles for different type of perils like you do on the property. It's pretty
Okay.
straightforward. So you're gonna have a collision deductible if you collide with another object or another vehicle. Then you have your other than collision, which is hail, water, flood, theft.
Myothion.
Yeah, all that. So yeah, and now whether somebody else is liable for the damage with the tree, I mean, that's a different, I don't know if that's what you were asking or.
No, it's just
okay.
like,
Yeah.
when your car gets hit like that, I mean, do they
Yeah.
come and say, well, there's not really a whole lot that we can do about
No.
this because.
Now, as long as you have physical damage coverage on your vehicle, now if you just carry liability, then no, you wouldn't have coverage. But as long as you have physical damage coverage, then you would have coverage for that situation.
Excellent.
Less
Alright.
the deductible, so.
Well, because this time of year, the way things are rolling right now, floods in your car, your buildings, hail and wind, and all kinds of stuff. I mean, Seymour found out last night.
Well, I swam
You know.
to the office, to the radio station this morning, and I'm all
Oh.
soaking wet still, so.
Yeah, there's like ankle deep water in front of the office right now.
Yeah, no, I'm not looking forward to that.
I know when it's gonna rain, I always park to the side. Because I don't want to have to walk
You
into the
gotta walk
water.
through
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, how do folks get a hold of you guys?
Well, they can come see us on the second floor of Sierra Bank Building. Make sure you bring a paddle. Or call us at 940-549-2525.
If you're in Hudson Oaks, we're at 2950 Fort Worth Highway, Suite 500. That number is 817-770-0096.
Or visit us online at brianins.com. That's Brian with a Y.
Brian of the Wow. All right, it's 7:46 in the morning. We got your Wednesday helpline coming up. We got to help settle an argument between a guy and his wife.